Have you ever held something in your hand, something you own, that works perfectly fine, maybe your phone or a favorite coffee mug, and felt a sudden, sharp, almost unexplainable pull for the newer version? It's not a logical feeling, is it? The one you have still serves its purpose. Nothing is broken. And yet, this quiet hum of dissatisfaction appears, a whisper that says, what you have is not quite enough. We often dismiss this as just wanting new things, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's a signpost, a tiny clue pointing to one of the most powerful and invisible forces shaping our inner worlds. We live inside a story, an economic ecosystem we call capitalism. And whether we are its greatest fan or its fiercest critic, it does more than just organize our markets. It quietly, persistently rewires the very nature of our desires. The scene might shift to slow, cinematic shots of everyday life, a person scrolling on their phone, a crowded shopping street, someone looking at their reflection in a shop window. Body, exploration. First, let's talk about the great shift from need to want. For most of human history, our desires were anchored to survival. We needed food, shelter, community, safety. These were finite needs. Once you have a roof over your head, you don't need another one. Once you've eaten, you are full. But a system built on perpetual growth can't survive on finite needs. It requires an engine of infinite desire. And so the machinery of our culture began the subtle process of transforming our wants into perceived needs. You don't just need shoes, you need these shoes, the ones that signify your status, your taste, your identity. You don't just need a vacation, you need an Instagrammable experience that can be documented, shared, and validated. The system is brilliant at this. It takes a genuine human desire for connection, for belonging, for meaning, and it attaches a product to it. The desire for community is answered with a brand logo on a t-shirt. The desire for rest is answered with a luxury subscription box. Our real, authentic hungers are still there, but they've been redirected towards things that can be bought and sold. It's like being deeply thirsty and being offered a photograph of water. It looks like what you need, but it will never quench you. This leads to the second, more personal transformation, the commodification of the self. Have you noticed how the language of business has seeped into our personal lives? We talk about our personal brand. We're encouraged to optimize our mornings, to leverage our skills, to turn our hobbies into side hustles. The joy of painting a picture for its own sake is subtly replaced by the question, could I sell this on Etsy? The peace of a long walk is interrupted by the thought, I should track my steps, hit my goals. We've been taught to see ourselves not as human beings, but as a kind of startup company of one. Our worth becomes tied to our productivity, our marketability. Rest is no longer a human right, but a liability. Time not spent producing is time wasted. We start to look at our own lives through the eyes of an investor, asking, what's the return on this relationship? What's the ROI on this hour of quiet contemplation? And when we do this, we lose something sacred. We lose the ability to do things for no other reason than that they bring us a quiet, simple joy. We lose the part of ourselves that is gloriously, beautifully unproductive. Third, there's the illusion of choice. We are told that the hallmark of our society is freedom, and that freedom is expressed through choice. And in one sense, it's true. You can walk into a supermarket and be faced with 100 different types of cereal. You can scroll through a streaming service with thousands of movies you could watch. But is this real choice, or is it a beautifully curated labyrinth? Most of those cereals are owned by a handful of megacorporations. Most of those movies are algorithmically suggested to you based on what you've already consumed. The choices are endless, but the fundamental path is often the same: consume. This creates a kind of paralysis. We spend so much energy choosing between functionally identical options that we don't have the mental space left to ask the bigger questions. Not, which brand of jeans should I buy, but do I need new jeans at all? Not, which show should I binge watch tonight, but is this the best way to spend my finite, precious evening? The system keeps us busy in the shallow end of decision-making, so we rarely have the energy to swim out into the deep. And this brings us to the most profound rewiring of all, the externalization of happiness. The constant hum of advertising, social media, and cultural messaging tells us one story over and over again. Happiness is something you get. It is an external acquisition. It's the promotion, the bigger house, the number of likes, the partner that completes you, the vacation that will finally let you relax. It's always just around the corner. Once I achieve this, then I will be content. Once I own that, then I will feel whole. We live our lives on a treadmill of if-then happiness. We get the thing we thought we wanted, and there's a brief flicker of pleasure. But the core emptiness, the fundamental human longing for meaning, remains untouched. And so the system offers us the next solution, the next purchase, the next goal. The horizon of satisfaction is always moving, always just out of reach. Because a truly deeply content person is not a very good consumer. Someone who finds joy in a walk, in a conversation, in watching the sunset, in reading a library book, that person has, in a small but radical way, stepped outside the cycle of manufactured desire. So what do? This system is the water we swim in. We can't simply leap out of the fishbowl. And the answer isn't about rejecting everything or living a life of stark asceticism. It's not about feeling guilty for wanting things. It's about beginning a quiet rebellion of awareness. It's about learning to listen for the difference between the loud, manufactured desires broadcast by the world and the quiet, authentic whispers of your own soul. The next time you feel that pull, that sharp pang of want for something new, just pause for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself, gently, without judgment, is this desire truly mine? Where did it come from? What feeling am I hoping this object or achievement will give me? Is there another, more direct way to find that feeling within myself? It's about creating a small, sacred space between the stimulus and the response. In that space, you can begin to reclaim your own compass. You can start to untie your worth from your productivity and your happiness from your acquisitions. You can start to remember the simple, uncommodified joy of just being. It's a lifelong practice, not a quick fix. It's learning to hear your own faint, beautiful melody underneath the roar of the marketplace. And that, I think, is the most profound freedom of all. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me today. If this message spoke to you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like the video, subscribe for more reflections like this, and perhaps share it with someone who might need to hear it. It really does help this little corner of the internet grow. Be well.